will tolerate one another. We may hold different views, but we are the citizens of this city. We want to build this city together. So let's tolerate one another. When you speak, I want disruption. I'll allow you to raise your concerns openly up until we come back and respond to what we have raised. So as a city, we must also caution about the risk of withholding municipal payments and paying money into trust accounts of other structures. We say this because the municipality will continue to implement credit control measures as allowed in law. This includes levying of interest on overdue accounts and disconnections. Should the resident decide to sell the property, there will be challenges with issuing of rate clearance certificates. When the property owner dies or passes on, a raised boycott could present challenges in winding up and listing. We urge residents to continue working with us as a municipality by paying their bills, municipal bills, where there are improvements required. We'll definitely work with them to bring about those improvements. Where there are genuine financial difficulties with payment, residents can visit any Sizakala Center to make payments arrangements in terms of the policy that are more affordable. We want to assure you of our commitment to improve service delivery and ensure that there is value for money in everything that the municipality does. With those few words, we wish to engage you as our residents. Please be free to engage us and critique us wherever we're not doing right. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, His Worship, Councillor Kaunda, the Mayor. Now is the opportunity to engage. I can see that it looks like it's not a normal meeting that I know. Because we are meeting the Westville Ratepayers Association. I can say that the woman in front of me is teaching me something new in a meeting. I said, I'm going to take hands for people. I never said that people must stand down. You raise your hand in a meeting, you are noted, we note other hands. But I'm not sure whether you are a chairperson of the Ratepayers Association. The procedure I'm trying to apply is something new to you, or maybe it's the man, because I'm not comfortable to chair a meeting where why the take hands? It's not going to work. But I will respect you. I will respect you and allow you to speak. But I don't want to harm. It's a kind of behavior that I'm not following in a meeting. But it's fine. I study is an indication that you want to speak. Then I'm not sure whether after respecting no one else to speak, maybe in the way you've done and do things in Westville. Can I assume that you are the first and last speaker?
Yo, bro, this is rough, eh? This is rough. This is rough. It's not how you find somebody. So you push people away.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Mayor. Speaker, probably you're going to learn this in the next few years in terms of behaviors. Can you guys hear me? You don't want me to talk in the mic. Nevertheless, rising to a point of order is a standard meeting procedure, which I think the Speaker is not very familiar with. And it is recognized in most meetings, so probably we need to give him a lesson in standard meeting procedures. But I don't want to get into that. I want to get down to the trucks. And the Mayor, we've allowed him, we've allowed him to continue his speech. And I'm actually to honest with you, very disappointed. Because we came here with the sole intention of finding each other. Now, how do we find each other if the city is standing here, the mayor, to be specific, standing on the podium and is telling you guys, if you do this, it's illegal in terms of this act, that act, etc., etc. Now, let's look at the 24.1 that the mayor quoted, section 24.1 of the Property Rates Act. The Act says it is illegal to withhold rates under normal circumstances, meaning if the city is providing you with all the services as per the legislation, it becomes illegal for you to do so. But the Act goes further to say, subject to Section 9 of the Municipal Systems Act. And I'm not going to get into that because this is not what it's about. They're the city officials, they need to know the Act better than we do. So, Section 9 is specific. There's about 15 or 16 different charters that the city needs to abide by. And I can tell you that none of them they comply. And this is why I stand here and I say, we will hold our position as the ratepayers of eThekwini, that we will withhold our rates and see if they feel that we are acting illegally, take us to court. Or let's find each other, let's sit down and let's work around those issues that are giving us the problem. Now, what are those problems? So let's start, and like Ways put his conditions on the table, we'll put our conditions on the table. Let's see if we can meet halfway. If we can't meet halfway, then I'm sorry, we walk out. There's no point being here because if they don't want to engage. So, in terms of the first point, we declare the 2023-2024 budget illegal. And we can prove it. We can go to court tomorrow and we can prove it. The process that the city used in terms of public participation, and you can see the agenda for tonight. This is recorded 10 minutes they gave us on the agenda. In 10 minutes, how do we engage the city? And this is the argument that we had when they rolled out previous public participation process. There was no engagement. The city didn't listen to us. In fact, we as the WRA, we've done public participation. The city is not aware how many people have been affected since COVID and how many mayors spoke about we have Sisakala offices to help you. Tell me how many people go to the Sisakala office and sit there for 3 days and don't get help and they get chased away. This is not how you treat your citizens. And I'm not talking about ratepayers. I'm talking about poor people. Since we've rolled out this campaign, we've been getting calls from the different townships. I'm talking about people that say in the townships, poor people, that can't get help. And the city doesn't know about it. They walk into these offices, they get turned away. And we are saying, as the Ratepayers Association, we're not just fighting for the middle class. We're making this very, very clear. The cameras are here and all of you are listening to us. This fight is not for the middle class. This fight is for every person in the city and more especially the poor. The city needs to work. So the public participation process was one aspect. They failed. And we kept requesting the city engage us one-on-one, including this meeting. And look at what they've done. They've taken it upon themselves, they've opened it up, we've accepted it. But this is not the order. We want to sit one-on-one. Mayor, come with your 5 or your 6. We'll come with our 6. We sit in the boardroom, we flesh out whatever the issues are, and we find a way forward. This is not public participation, this is a show and tell. This is just publicity. We're not here for that. We want a renegotiation on the 2023-2024 tariff increases. We do recognize that the city needs to take an increase. We accept it. But we're saying let it be part of this process. And we even put an offer to put an alternate budget for the city. And this was refused. So if you look at the municipal system and what it tells you, that we have a right to be part of that process, you have to include us in this, especially if you want to be part of the process. But the city doesn't recognize that. We also want an undertaking from the city in terms of a comprehensive plan of action to tackle misappropriation and irregular expenses. And I think this is the touching point. This is what we're calling the leaking bucket. You want us to pay more, but you're not protecting the money that you're collecting. It's an issue for us. It's a major issue. I mean, 300 million as reported by ENCA. I mean, it's ridiculous. 300 million. 60 million of this money was lost in June, 1 week after we met with the CFO. And we met with the CFO and he gave us assurances. We are putting systems in place to ensure that the misappropriation of funds will not happen. Anything over 250,000 rand will go to AI technology. It will get vetted before it gets approved. 1 week after we met with him, 60 million. I mean, come on. The mayor, we met with him when there was 6 this last round, but in the previous round we met him. And he started off by saying, ratepayers don't go on a rate boycott. We will work together. We will do this, we will do that. We will put consequence management in place. We will climb into the ceilings if you have to. That's where his words are recorded, it's on TV. We will do what it takes to ensure that we will fix the city. And he also promised, we will have future engagements with you as the ratepayers. We will work with you. Now we're standing here today on the 10th of August, and again we hear you. We will work together with you as the ratepayers. How do you think we feel? Do you think we're going to believe what you're saying? Given the fact that when we met with you previously, you gave us fair promises. Now at which point do we as ratepayers do get a voice and the city takes our concerns seriously? Because this is what it is about. People are struggling, people are losing jobs, people cannot afford this tariff increase. I've got an example, a business person obviously, his property he was paying around 65,000 rand rates prior to 2022 July. In July 2022, his rates went up from 65,000 to 650,000. Is that acceptable? And the city doesn't have an appeals board. So where do you go and sort these issues out? 1 year, 1 month, there's no appeals board in the city. So who do you go and who do you address these things with? The system's collapsed. It's collapsed. The fact that the mayor doesn't even know that there's no appeals board, the fact that the city manager doesn't know there's an appeals board, it's like me going to my house and I don't know where my children are. In terms of the non-establishment of this appeals board, which I talked about, all rates increases on properties that are in dispute and on appeal, they need to be backdated and set aside to July 2022. It's unacceptable. You are asking these people to pay an exorbitant amount. They are disputing the value of the property, but the city doesn't have the mechanisms to deal with it, and we are being bullied that you just need to pay this. Failing which, if you pay, we will come and disconnect you or impose credit control measures on you. That's bullying. We have moved from a democracy to a theocracy. The city is now becoming a dictatorship. You agree? In terms of the bill that we received, I don't know if you guys can read it. I have a major problem. I cannot for the life of me understand it. And if you look at the MFMA, it talks about this, that simplify the bill that the consumer is able to read it and understand. What we're finding now is that there's a whole lot of things in this bill we can't even understand. And all of us will just simply pay and keep moving. And we're saying, you know what, no, hold on. This is the only city in the country that's doing this. Go to any other city, go to Joburg, go anywhere. You pick up the bill, you look at it, you can understand, you know exactly what you're being charged for. We don't know what we're being charged for. We're also saying we want regular, accurate readings as per legislation. We're not asking for anything other than what's in the legislation. In terms of the legislation, our meters must be regulated. That's in legislation. What the legislation makes provision for is that the meters can go unread for a maximum period of 3 months under extreme circumstances, meaning something's broken down in the system, and therefore the maximum period that you can't read your meter and take an estimate is 3 months. What the city is doing is they're giving us estimates every 3 months, and that estimate puts you in a different category, and it puts you in a different rating, and that's not right. It's illegal, to be honest with you. It's fraud. We also have a concern for the registered ratepayers that are over 60 years of age. And we are saying, you have imposed them with such a rate burden. I mean, these people are coming to us, they're showing us R500,000, 1 million rand, that they owe because of whatever the situation is. The properties have gone up, the tariffs have gone up, etc., etc., and they're just building a real amount. And we're saying the city needs to take care of this. And it's across the board. I'm not talking just middle income. I'm talking across the board. We talk about this electricity tariff, and again, we can go to court. And I can tell you now, hands down, we'll win the case. We'll hands down win this case. The city, in terms of the 2023-2024 budget, the city adopted an 18.49 electricity tariff prior to it being approved by NERSA. Where did you hear of this? Where did you hear of this? Seriously, it's a violation of legislation. You can't do this. It's illegal. And NERSA only approved 15.1, but they already adopted at 18.49. We put NERSA under pressure and we said you can't go more than 15.1. And when NERSA only approved 15.1, we went back to the city and we said, you can't take an 18.49, you can only take a 15.1. And if you take a 18.49, we'll take you to court. And we will ensure that you lose your license agreement with NERSA. So what did the city do? They reduced the tariff from 18.49 to 15.41 without even a council resolution. They just simply did it. How is that possible? It's illegal. So, again, when you talk about the 15.41, and there's many of you sitting in here who actually reached out to me. You have people that work for you, or you have tenants, etc., etc., etc. This 15.1 tariff is hurting the poor far more than it's hurting the middle income. They used to go and buy for 100 rand worth of tokens. They used to get, as an example, 150 units that needed to go into a prepaid system. Now they're getting less, and so much less that it's actually restricting them to a week's worth of electricity. And what we're saying is, the city is not recognizing this. These people who are affected by this astronomical high tariff increase on electricity, when they run out of electricity, they are not privileged like us, that they can continue for the rest of the month. When they run out of electricity, they have to wait for the next paycheck. So if they run out of electricity in the second week, for 2 weeks in their house, they don't have electricity. Surely, all of these things needed to be taken into account, which the city doesn't do. And what we've written to, and I don't want to get too much into this because I shouldn't be doing this. In fact, I've been told that it should be 15 minutes. It's either they accept what we're asking them, what we're putting on the table, and if they're not prepared to accept it, we're walking out and we meet them in court. But I'm just doing it to indulge a little bit of the municipality. What we're also then saying is, in the last 5 financial years, and this is just simply looking at the AG report, we're not looking at anything else. It's the AG report that we've looked at, which reported all of these losses. So losses of water, losses of electricity. It's top line. We're not looking deep down. We're not even talking about forensic reports or anything. This is as per the AG report. The city lost 50 billion rand in 5 years. And we're saying, hold on, there's a problem. You're not serious. As I said, the mayor, the city manager don't know this, an appeals board. They probably didn't even know, they didn't even do the calculation to realize that the city lost 50 billion rand. Now when we're telling them there's a loss of 50 billion rand, they're probably shocked. But we're not shocked because we have been subjected to high tariff increases. And we say, why would you want to subject us to a high tariff increase when you're not closing the tap? Close the tap. Fix the leaks. Fix the leaking bucket. Let's sit down. Let's talk. Let's negotiate. That's called finding each other. If the mayor came here and said, insofar as all of what you've given us, don't talk about what's legal and what's not legal, because that will leave for the court to decide. This meeting should be, you raise the point, or you raise an issue in terms of the 50 billion rand. This is what we're going to do. Then I can say we're finding each other. Then we're moving forward. That's what we should be talking about. Not coming here and threatening us that this is legal and that's not legal. Because the mayor is not the law. We will take this to court. We will take it to the constitutional court, if so be. But we will not be putting it to What concerns us more is that we are aware that there was a section 139 that should have been imposed on the city for various reasons. And for various reasons it hasn't been imposed. But the fact of the matter is that somewhere, provincial, national, is recognizing that there is a serious concern with the city in terms of its administration. That is why the 139 has been figuring over the city. So the leadership of the city needs to take this into account. And they need to recognize there's a problem. And what we are saying, that in order for us to move forward as the Ratepayers Association, we want to be part of this process. We want to be part of an oversight board with the city, and this needs to be set up within 14 days. 14 days, failing which, the city is not prepared to talk to us, they're not prepared to establish this board. We will continue with our protest action. We will continue to divert our funds into the account of the WRA, and we will meet you in court. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Powerful presentation. A very frank, robust, and very direct. We appreciate all of you, through the speaker who was speaking here. The message is very clear. The mayor is now receiving a copy of all the issues raised. He has signed the copy. For sure, I will allow him with the chief to make some remarks on the presentation. I'm not expecting a direct response on each and every point, but just feel after listening to the presentation. But before I allow the mayor to make remarks, I must admit that, or inform you that we might have some challenges in the city of eThekwini, but we are not afraid to be criticized. We don't have a problem if a member of the community are engaging. Sitting here, we are learning. It's good to listen to citizens. We are fine here, we are happy by being honest. His Worship, let me give you a chance to say something after the presentation and the submission of the memorandum.
much, Mr. for your presentation. But let me allow the gentleman next to you to finish the conversation so that when I respond, I'll be having your attention. Thank you very much for your presentation. You did exactly what we wanted. That's why we are here. We wanted you to put the challenges as they are to us, and we acknowledge the challenges you've spoken about. But I said to you when I signed here in the table, I said we will take these 14 days that you are giving us, we'll give you our formal representations so that we give you the detailed response. But I may have some answers now, but I don't want to be tempted to respond to all the questions that you have raised and issues. We do have the appeals board that you spoke about. It is appointed by the MPC, not even by ourselves as a city. So I just want to give you an assurance that there is an appeals board which deals with valuations of properties in this city. It is a board in action, it is working, it has been considering all the 10,000 submissions which were made on valuations. It is appointed by the MPC, the Member of Executive Council of Copton. Then let me also give you an assurance that the city is working on the issues which the committees have been raising. When the mayor commented about consequence management, in our response we can even give you the detail as to how the hearings have taken place to ensure that we conduct consequence management as a city. We can give you all those details, which is a clear indication that we mean what we normally comment. The city is starting to become better in terms of cleanliness because consequence management have been applied. The new head of DSW, she's trying her level best, and she is going somewhere with the improvements that we are observing in the city. And we want to guarantee our residents that they will be observing a cleaner city. Can I proceed? Yes, ma'am? We can give you a mic. Okay, thank you. As the leadership of the city, we always clarify this matter that when you deal with the proposed tariffs, you initiate your first process in March where the council adopt the proposed tariffs. That is happening in March. Then in the month of April and May is where you engage with the members of the public to source their inputs. And our publications have been out, and the newspapers have been out in our Gagasini, Metro, newsletter. They've been out in many platforms that we notify people in East Radio, Okozini, Gagasini FM, Gagasi FM, and many other platforms where we publicize notices. So we can give an assurance that those adverts were given to source the inputs from members of the public. But once you give that situation where you source the inputs, then you then allow the council to go back and reconsider the submissions of the members of the public. That process is happening in May when we approve the budget. The budget that we approved at an initial stage, we initiated a budget of 66 billion rand. Remember that budget of 66 billion rand, you don't just formulate it by thinking that you may need 66 billion rand, but you deal with the allocation per each unit of the city to become more responsive on the needs of the community. Then that's how you constitute your budget. But we ended up in May not approving a budget of 66 billion. We approved a budget of 65 billion. 65.5 billion. So that reduction was informed by our response on the tariffs that the members of the public raised sharply with us. They said, no, we can't afford this, then we had to reduce some of the tariffs that we were raising. Let me come to the issue of NESA. I'll just deal with it at high level. I won't get into details. When you approve your budget, you approve it in condition, subjected to NESA final decision. So when you approve it as a council, you say NESA is around 18 point this percentage that has been given to ESCOM. So therefore, you approve your budget around that. Then once NESA takes its final decision, it is binding. So that 15.1% is not something which we are imposing to the council without a council decision. Whoever who informed members of the public that we did not follow the process, that individual needs to be assisted. When you approve budget, you put a condition that as per NESA final decision. So NESA final decision is 15.1%. So you can't do otherwise. So you've got to stick to that. So you don't need to go back to the council and request that you reduce from 18.49% to 15.1%. You don't need to do that. Already the council decision covers that. So I just wanted to clarify that so that we are not seen as people that are doing something else without following the law. So we'll give a detailed response to the issues, but I think we've already given some responses. And we want to urge as residents that there is a room for this seat to make it work better for its people. That room is when we collaborate. It shouldn't be us and them. We are leaders at a municipal level. You are the residents of this city. You are leading us. So when you elect us, you are also our leaders because it's you who elected us. So therefore, those collaborations should always be sustained, and we need to be consistent in terms of working together to address the matters that we are facing. The same city we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen, there is no city in South Africa can guarantee which has been faced with the catastrophic incidents that have been faced in South Africa. So whenever we are dealing with the rebuilding process, how we become more responsive to the plight of our communities to ensure that we make the city work. So when we are compared, we need to be compared with those who have suffered like us. When we're preparing budgets, where have you seen a city that adjusts its budget every year because of disasters? Every financial year, before it ends, you've got to conduct an adjustment. Why do you have to adjust? Why do you have to adjust? It's because you need to respond to the disasters. You need to respond to the disasters. For the floods of 2022, April and May, we had to reprioritize your budget around 600 million rands to respond to the roads that were washed away, to the infrastructure that was washed away. So those are the responses that have been given. We'll come to that. If you want to speak, then we'll give you a chance. Okay? Just allow us to respond. We understand that we are all frustrated, but we also need to ensure that there is business continuity. Now, the issues I'm talking about, Toyota told us with Mondi, SAB, that they are going to leave this city if we are not responding to fix the infrastructure immediately after floods. They gave us a timeline of September. They said we'll be having a board meeting in September. the floods happened in April. We want you as a city to give us guarantees that you are dealing with infrastructure challenges. And we did exactly that. With the money that we reprivatized, we fixed their electricity, their power stations which were washed away. We fixed the pipes which were broken. We are preparing, we have invested in the rehabilitation of roads that they worried about. We are also investing with Sandra and the Department of Transport in the province to deal with Umlazi Canal. Those are the three things which they highlighted. They said, if you can't give us a portfolio of evidence that you are done with SCM processes, you are going to be responsive to this, we are moving Toyota from South Africa. The reason why Toyota is still there is because we responded to it. How did we respond? Because we had to reprioritize our budget to respond to the disasters. So when you reprioritize budgets, it means there are items which you will share, you'll prioritize something else. So those items, we've been attacked that we're not maintaining swimming pools. It's true. Because we took some of the money, more than 30 million, we took them from swimming pools, from maintenance of swimming pools, so that we can redirect these resources to fix the infrastructure, so that we maintain and sustain the jobs of people who work in those big companies. We had to do that. Yes, those are the choices that you have. Because we don't have money of disaster that was waiting for a disaster. We didn't know that we'll be having a disaster in April last year. They don't announce themselves. So we had to prioritize those budgets. So I'm making a practical example on this so that you'll also appreciate, as members of the public, that as your leaders, sometimes there are choices that you have to make. But some of those choices won't come good to your food service. Because you may say, I need my swimming pool, but we redirected money to something else. So we want you to also acknowledge that and understand it. And we did it. So Toyota is still here. They are happy to be here in the city. The other companies are here. So we responded to that on your behalf. We were the city that was hit hard by the unrest, July unrest in 2021. The economy came to standstill. But we had to rise to the occasion as your leaders and say, how do we resuscitate this city? And indeed, we resuscitated it. Yes, we saved jobs. We saved jobs. So I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm going to take leave, I'm giving you the work that you've been doing on your behalf to ensure that you become more responsive to your challenges. As I take leave, Chair, Honorable Speaker, we want to commit, Chairperson, that the issues that are listed here are going to be responded to within 14 days in writing. So the process that we were proposing to undertake, it was a process just to give you an assurance on other matters that you raised. Remember that you raised some leaks somewhere in other roads, and the overgrown veggies, and all those issues. So those issues have been attended to, and we are continuing to finalize those which are still outstanding. So, Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the city, I commit that all the issues that members of the public raised with us are going to be responded to. We'll give you a detailed response. Thank you very much for your time and for listening.
Thank you. We've now came to the end of our meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance. Issues have been raised and presented. The mayor has made commitment that in 14 days they will respond as per the demand from the leadership of the Ratepayers Association. We are looking forward to that meeting. The presentation that we have prepared, we are not going to present because the memorandum has covered everything. The meeting will be planned where the responses will be presented. The meeting is adjourned. Those who want to engage us can come in the front. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. Okay, let's do this.
It's unacceptable that you close the meeting.
Let me address this.
If you're not prepared to engage us, we walk. We walk.
No.
We need to inform. We need to inform.
Let me respond to your concern.
You fail to recognize. You saw
Let me respond to you. When we started the meeting, I outlined how the meeting there was no objection. I gave the mayor a chance to address. You demanded the space to speak. I allowed you to address. Then I requested the mayor to respond. He signed the memorandum. That was done. Now, standing up in a meeting while we are closing, to me, does not mean that the meeting has not been concluded. Hence, I'm saying, because we are standing up, but the meeting now is coming to an end. But let me finish. No, we'll give you.
In our faces.
I will give you a chance to speak. I will give you, but I need to speak. I need to speak. I need to speak.
There should be a live event going on.
No, you speak.
There was 60 or so people on it. No,
but at the same time, you
just go to the WRA page on Facebook. Just go directly to the WRA page.
I'm going to allow you to speak. Come.
That link was faulty or something.
You see, this is the problem that we have. And this is exactly what we say. That the city takes it upon themselves to make these decisions. And in terms of the Municipal Systems Act, he cannot do what he's done. He doesn't have the power to do this. And besides, the agenda hasn't been closed. But because I stood to respond to the mayor, they want to close the meeting. And this is unacceptable. They have to listen to us. They must hear us. And my message to the mayor and to the speaker and to the city, it does not mean that because you say it, it's right. We will challenge you. Understand that. We're making it clear. The fact that you are saying, I did public participation processes, I advertised it, I put it on this notice, I put it on online, that's not public participation. And this is what we're trying to address with you. Public participation means, I talk to you, you talk to me, I not agree with what you say, you not agree with what you say, but you need to find common ground. You can't close the meeting and say, oh well, this is how it is, we've done this, we're happy with public participation. We're telling you we're not happy with public participation. So if we're telling you we're not happy with public participation, then you ought to listen to us. We've also declared a dispute with the city. You will still need to sit down and sort out the issues in terms of that dispute. When are we going to do this? You quoted section 102.2. Let's sit down and let's talk. You may not agree with our dispute. And you well within your rights not to accept it and agree with it. Then I'm saying, then the court becomes the mediator. Let's go to court. Let's find out who's right. You right or we right. But then we don't need to wait for 14 days. We can start the process now. Why wait for 14 days?
I think the points are noted. I did explain that the presentation from Mr. Mavuso Shabalala won't conclude that presentation because the issue here that we are discussing is the memorandum that has been submitted by the speaker who was on the podium and the commitment made by the mayor after the submitting that memorandum. Now, that's why I'm saying, after the speaker has summarized everything on behalf of the association, the mayor has responded and received the copy. Now it has come to an end of the meeting. But mayor, you want to say something?
Let's thank you for your attendance. As we already agreed, we'll meet with you to give you in detail our notice. Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for steering this meeting to the correct direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this meeting.